everyone, HisRoyalFatness here and welcome back to the channel. Today we are continuing the Soviet Meds 101 series, today on the T-54. This is the tier 9 Soviet medium vehicle that is very capable in the right scenario, and of course in today's video I will be showing you the 3 consecutive live games as well as discuss the characteristics of the T-44, what its playstyle is like, how to play the vehicle, how it differs from the T-44 for those of you who are grinding up the vehicle tier. But for those of you who aren't interested in that information, I will timestamp right here when the live games start so you can skip ahead. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's discuss the T-54. Let's start off by the armor profile, because this vehicle has amazing armor for a tier 9 medium tank. It has, well, really best in class. It has a really well armored turret. Now the turret does have some weaknesses. There are 2 hashes on top. Those can be penned pretty easily. There are 2 weak spots around the sides of the gun mantlet, but for the most part the turret is just super strong in this tank, and against tier 8s, good lord, they will pretty much never go through. Furthermore, it has a really good hull. In fact, I would say the best hull upper plate for all of the Soviet medium tanks, except for maybe the 140, which is very similar to. It has very heavily armored upper plate, which when angled correctly can ricochet a lot of shots, especially from tier 8s. They will struggle. Those tier 8 medium tanks, for instance, a Pershing, will struggle to pen an angled T-54 with standard ammunition. So armor profile is brilliant. Now, is the mobility good? Yes, indeed. It has a 56 km/h top speed, keeping up with the T-44 in the good mobility department, as well as great traverse numbers. So it is very mobile, has excellent armor. What is there not to hate about the vehicle? Well, 5 degrees of gun depression. That really limits the effectiveness of this vehicle. And it is primarily a kind of hull down medium tank, or you think it would be, but 5 degrees of gun depression doesn't give you a lot of options. So really going hull down on hilly terrain is quite difficult. And furthermore, there are the guns this tank has. And this is where this tank really becomes disappointing in my opinion. It has 2 options of guns, and I will break down which one I use in just a moment. But in terms of the guns on this vehicle, they lack penetration. They both have good DPM, sure, but the penetration on the standard ammunition and the premium rounds are really kind of underwhelming for what they are. And furthermore, they both kind of have, well, mediocre accuracy at best. They're not very accurate. Now, if the guns were highly accurate, they would be a lot better, but the lack of accuracy really does make this tank struggle against tier 10 heavy tanks, or most tier 10 vehicles that aren't like paper tanks. It will really struggle against, and even some tier 9. So the guns are the disappointing part about this vehicle. So if you're curious which gun I do run, of course I am running the D-54 gun, and that is for primarily one reason. It gets 230 millimeters of base penetration, which is years better than the other option, which has 211, and this is with calibrated shells, mind you. So this is the boosted penetration numbers. Now you say, well, the other gun looks way better. It has much better DPM. That is true. Its dispersion when fully aimed in is better. That is true. Its weight is a little lighter. But what you don't really see are the soft stats. At least as far as I'm aware, the D-54's gun actually feels way more accurate. It feels like the dispersion is less on the move and during turret rotation, and of course it has a quicker aiming time. So I found this gun to not only have better penetration, but to feel a little bit more accurate. It's not brilliant, but it's definitely better than the other option. So it really comes down to personal preference. I chose this gun as, well, when you're in a tier 10 game, having 230 pen versus 211 pen is definitely a nice deal. So those are the guns I am running on the T-54. And of course, here is the equipment. You already know I am running the calibrated shells because we need that pen boost. Sub 300 heat pen, well, that is going to struggle against a lot of vehicles, even frontally. On the lower plates of stuff like that. Everything else is kind of whatever. I'm just running whatever I feel is more comfortable. I am actually running armor on this vehicle, which is very bizarre for me. I usually run hit points, but I thought, you know, we'll try it out with armor. Can't really tell the difference. We'll find out. And yeah, so that is the equipment I am running on the T-54. So how is it really different from the T-44? Well, the T-44 was very similar, but its armor, I say, was less effective tier for tier. T-54 definitely has better armor. The guns are similar tier for tier. They perform similarly. They both lack penetration. They both have decent accuracy, but not like the best. They both have decent DPM, but not the best. So tier for tier, they're very similar vehicles, and they both have the same kind of mobility. What I think the T-54 really excels at, above and beyond what the T-44 does, is being a brawling medium tank. This is where the Soviet medium tanks really get that brawling characteristics that kind of carries over into vehicles like the Object 140, which we will break down later. But The T-54 is great at brawling, in particular side hugging. And the reason I love side hugging so much in the T-54 is you just park yourself on the side of a vehicle and you just move back and forth, and it's very difficult for them to pen that thick turret, and it doesn't really matter that you have 5 degrees of gun depression anyways because you're just sitting on the side of a vehicle. I prefer that than trying to do hull down poking around the corner brawling, but of course if you must, facing around the corners on minor hilly terrain will work on the T-54. So I choose this vehicle as, whenever possible, a brawling vehicle. Now there are 2 different playstyles. There are top tier T-54 and there are bottom tier T-54. And when you're top tier, you can be extremely aggressive, you can brawl pretty much any tier and just rip them to pieces and just have a blast. When you're in a mostly tier 10 game, however, the tank struggles a lot, I've noticed. Now, doesn't mean it's bad, but when you're playing T-54 in a bottom tier match, you need to be a lot more careful of what engagements you decide to take. Where are you pushing? Are you going to actually brawl this vehicle? Do you have support from your team? Should you spot up here or push over here? Where should you rotate? These are all kind of questions that pop in your head when you're bottom tier, because it is so easy to get careless in a T-54 because you can dominate tier 8s, but the moment you're in a tier 10 game, you'll get ripped apart. I mean, good luck against that T-62A with 3,500 damage per minute and 7 degrees of gun depression. That's hull down. You're not going to deal with that. So you need to be a lot more considerate of, well, what environments you're in, what vehicles you may face, where your team is when you are a bottom tier in this tank. So hopefully the live gameplays, we will show you both bottom tier and top tier. It really depends. And that is kind of my discussion on how the T-54 performs and what you should consider when using this vehicle. Do not forget the side scrape. That is my most favorite part about a T-54. And with that out of the way, let's jump right on into the live games. All right, so here we are. First game, we are on Dead Rail. It is a tier 10 game. They have a lot of nasty heavy tanks, the Mouse, the AMX M4. These are tanks I can't pen frontally very easily. They also have some tier 9 meds such as the Type 61 and the T92. Now, as the enemy team is relatively heavy, I would anticipate their heavies to go towards the mid and the right hand side, and I assume probably the Type and T92 are going to come this way. Now, we will need to keep an eye out for where those TDs are, but I think I can definitely take the brawl over here and outbrawl both of these tanks. What I'm going to do for the start of this game is just pull into this bush and try and spot up if any other vehicles are headed this way besides potential light tanks. You can see there is the T92. We get a good early shot into him. And I'm just going there for initial information. I'm not going to sit there all game and let the T's nuke me. Instead, I'm going to pull back and get safe. Now, you can see the AMX 50B on the enemy team gets absolutely nuked by our TDs. That's exactly what I didn't want to do there. And of course, we do spot up the T92 running away. So we should be able to put a good shot into him in just a moment. Do get another shot into the T92. And the fact that he ran away does make me a little bit suspicious that he doesn't have much support. I'm going to believe the TDs are over there, and the T92 is probably going to try and snipe an enemy spawn. So this should leave me free to just push onto that Type 61, who's probably somewhere in front of me. There is the Type also running away. We can easily put a shot onto him. I'm going to angle up over here so he doesn't get a good shot on my side. We might take a shell here, and we do. We're going to load up the high explosive, putting a high explosive shot into him, and then we're just going to get up close and personal, and we're just going to outbrawl this Type 61. That is all I'm here to do. Side hugging this Type. You can see he's struggling to penetrate us here, and we have superior DPM, superior HP this game, and we're just going to kind of rip apart this Type. There's not much he can do. His game's kind of over. Now, he does get a pen into us, mark you, but the amount of HP that I have taken out on this vehicle is a lot. Unfortunately, our T92 does not want to help me, and you can see the AMX 50B on the enemy team is purely just YOLOing for me, which is not a good idea because the 50B has awful traverse speed, so we're going to pick up the kill on the AMX 50B. I'm not really sure why the AMX 50B would just suicide YOLO like that, but it's whatever. So that was a pretty good brawl to start out the game for the T54. Now, we only can't really pen the Mouse on the side with AP. I mean, we can theoretically, but it's more likely to hit his turret than his side. We will try if we do get a good shot into his side, damaging his ammo rack, in fact, and we can just continue kind of farming out this Mouse. So if you're ever going to go into the enemy spawn from this side of the map, then make sure you are where I am. From here, I am completely safe from their tank destroyers, and I am able to farm out their heavy tanks that have gone towards the mid very easily, and I am very safe. I am hull down here, and I can kind of just chill out, and this is the best spot for a medium or light if you have control of the enemy spawn. Exactly where I am. I always recommend going here if you need to, and there you go. It's pretty much game over already. The AMX M454 LE MLE is coming this way, that is true, and we already know where the Gorilla 15 is, so we're just going to try and get safe from the Gorilla 15 and see if we can spot him up or not. He may very well be in the bush, and there he is. We're going to load up the high explosive. He just pulls back just in time to avoid my shell, but he should not be able to spot me up from there, and I can easily start farming him with high explosive. So this was a pretty good game for the T54. I think a great example of just what this tank is all about, and really why it's so good at brawling, especially against that Type 61. That Type really did not stand much of a chance there. We're going to load up the high explosive again, putting another shell to the gorilla. The gorilla has just fired, and hopefully if we reload in time, he gets taken out. All right, so 4,000 damage. Not a bad start to this game. The way in which I played it was pretty aggressive, you know. I was really reading the lineup and what the enemy team was doing. You can see, sure, initially we got those spots on those medium and lights going this way, but then we spotted them running out. The T92 is running away, which means they did not have much support. They got scared and they wanted to run away. So that's why I pushed so aggressively down low. Now, the reason I pushed down low instead of up high is because I figured the enemy tank destroyers would be sitting up in their TD mound on the other side, where they would shoot me if I went up high. If I went down low, they would not have those shots, so I would be TD safe. And all of that worked out just fine. We were able to outbrawl the Type 61, pick up a kill on the AMX-50B, and it worked really well in general. Okay, so Vineyards for the second game. Once again, we're in a tier 10 match. Very not favorable for us. What I'm going to do is a very early kind of river spotting run. I always like to do this because you can really safely figure out what the enemy team are sending this way. And as you can see, well, as of right now, absolutely no one has been spotted up. So I can be pretty confident right now that the enemy team have not sent tanks deep this way, and they are indeed going towards the town. And as you can see, the 113 enemy team gets spotted up. I'm going to see if we can find anyone on encounter. No one gets spotted on encounter, so this means the entirety of the enemy team is stuck in the town, and that leaves us a lot of freedom to kind of work around the map, find out where the enemy team is weak, and start farming them down. There is the Kranwagen. That tank is ridiculously slow at times. We do get a good shot into the Kran. We do not get spotted in return, and I'm just going to take it easy because at the moment we don't know where a lot of their team is, and once again, it is a tier 10 match, so you don't want to be super out of your way aggressive if necessary, because you will get ripped apart by tier 10s quite easily in a T54. So you need to be cautious of where those tier 10 tanks could be, how they could shoot you. I am hard peeking this corner before poking out because I want to make sure no one is poking that corner that could shoot me, like where that Kranwagen is. So it's only a matter of time, I think, before the E75B is a little bit more aggressive here. And as you can see, the Foch is pushing quite aggressively onto vehicles like our Mouse. So our poor Mouse is getting super hardcore pressured over there. The E75 on the enemy team is going down, but you can see, yeah, our Mouse probably won't survive very long in the situation he's at, and the enemy team are going to push onto us. So I really would love to push left here, but I do not think I can because, well, actually, you know what? I'll make sure I can get enough team support. If I get enough team support, I can hold the left-hand side of this map. I can spot them up. Hopefully our 183 will provide the cover fire I need. So I'm just going to hold down low here and wait for the enemy team to come into us. There is the Foch 155, as you can see. Can't quite hit a heat shot onto him because the vines actually block heat shells here. They actually are soft cover. There's the T22. We're going to pull back from him, push onto him, angle up, and we do manage to avoid a shell from the T22, which is good. We will definitely need our HP if it comes to a 1v1 fight versus us. So T22 is going to poke again. We'll put another shot into him. Hopefully our 183 nukes him. Not quite. Looks like the 183 might have damaged his tracks without doing a lot of damage. There's the 113 above us. I don't think we can quite shoot him. Unfortunately, we cannot. And I'm just kind of holding down here. Now, I think what I can definitely do here is rotate out. This T22 and 113 are going to be difficult to kill, and our 183 has just gone down, whereas the Foch on the enemy team is kind of YOLOing into the rest of our team. And I want to stick with my team here. If I get overly isolated, this 113 and T22 will kill me oh so very quickly. I would like to just kind of pressure their team where they are isolated. So 113, T22 are kind of out of the fight here. I'm going to start pushing in towards the town and start being a little bit more aggressive over here. You can see the Kron has gone down. The 113 and T22 are out of the fight. There is, I believe, an M48 Patton. We're going to ignore him and continue going for this Leopard. I'm going to continue pulling through just to make sure I don't take a shot there. And we're just being a very kind of aggressive over here where we need to be. That was a bad shot by me. And yeah, so the Leopard's Amarak's out. He's probably not going to reload. Okay, we should definitely out-reload him now. We'll put a shot into his side. E5 picks up the kill there, and now we can rotate back for the M48 Patton, who is YOLOing our T22. Or, no, our T22 is dead, who's YOLOing our Gorilla. So we're going to go for a track shot on the Patton. We do get the fire and the track there, which is great. E5 should pick up the kill, and that is fantastic. All right, so this was a weird game. We were able to take control of this side of the map, which worked well, but then I wasn't really able to commit back to our spawn. I was trying to spawn up for a 183, but the moment that 183 got nuked, there was no reason for me to sit there. The rest of our team was progressing towards town, so I pushed back to try and help our team just finish off those vehicles that were over there. And it actually worked out quite well in the favor of our team. Now we can see the T22 is pushing our Gorilla 15. That is not good because we need our Gorilla to stay alive. He is the DPM of the team, but we find an isolated 113. So we're going to push in on the 113. Oh man, unfortunately that shot misses because of the accuracy on this tank. And there is the T22 pushing aggressively. I want to try and kill this T22 if possible, so I'm just going to push in behind the 113. We are taking his tension off of the us for now. We should be able to hopefully kill this T22. So we'll put a shot right through his upper plate. Once again, the accuracy on the T-54's gun is not quite holding true there, and the T-22 does manage to escape there, unfortunately. Now, our E5 should be able to win that 1 versus 1 there, and I should be able to take out this T-22 if we hit him right in the upper plate. There you go. We managed to win that brawl. That was a little bit messy, but I was aiming dead center of his plate, and I think I hit him in his gun mantlet, which is why that one shot didn't pen there. I'm just going to kind of sit out and take it chilled. I don't want the 113 just to poke and shoot me. We'll put a shot into him in return, but I need to wait till he actually shoots his gun. So he hasn't quite shot yet, and there we go. He has now shot. We're going to keep loading up the heat, putting another shot into this 113, and 113 has awful traverse. He will not be able to keep up with us at all, so I can easily just flank behind him, get along his sides here. In fact, we can probably just debate his shot over our side, and there we go, just as I was planning. Put another shot into him, picking up the kill. So not a bad game. Once again, T-54 is about brawling. That is what it does best, and you can see whenever the T-54 plays best, it's when you're kind of pushing up with your team. In fact, that was an ace tanker. We did get 1400 base experience there. As you can see, our E5 and even our T-22, they both did really good. We still managed to hold our own though, and we did get the most XP on the team. That was just because we were being really aggressive in a tier 9 medium tank, and that is just what the T-54 can do, but you have to monitor that aggression. At first, I was happy just to kind of spot up for our 183 there, and then I pushed in with my team when I needed to. When you're in a bottom tier tank like a T-54 in a tier 10 match, it gets pushed on very easily. It gets killed very easily by tier 10s. So you have to be very cautious of what you decide to push on. But this tank is great at brawling when you can get into those brawling scenarios. Okay, so third game, we are finally top tier, and this should be the kind of top-notch scenario for a T-54. The enemy team have a T-49, double Yak Panther 2s, a Tortoise, a Leopard, and 252Us. So they do have some kind of annoying tanks. The double 252U, I mean the double Leopards will be annoying. There is a T-49. I'm going to angle up towards them. Now the T-49 has no penetration at all on its heat rounds. That's why I just instantly turned there, because I wanted to guarantee that he would not accidentally hit me in the side with heat and get a full pen or something. That would really suck. Now, T-49 is pulling back. We can see they have a Yak Panther over here. We're going to snap a shot into the Yak Panther and pull back, and I'm just kind of holding here. So we know they have heavy tanks down A. We can see the Yak Panther is still up here. We can put another shot into him. We are hauled down, and that is the Leopard on our left side. So we definitely want to be a little bit more careful about how we play this for now. But you can see we have an Emil 1 coming this way. The Yak Panther has lost all of his hit points. I think the T-49 is just kind of chilling here, and so what I think we can do is start brawling this Leopard. We're going to put an HE right into the side of his tank for 400. That is very nice. T-49 bounces us again, and I'm just going to progress to push on this Leopard. The Leopard is the tier 9 after all. We need to make sure we can pick up the kill there. Leopard goes down. Yak Panther is isolated, and this is just a kind of good scenario for a vehicle like the T-54. We can be aggressive. We can really not have to worry too much about vehicles just absolutely deleting us at the start of this game. So there is a T-49 on the run. Won't be able to quite shoot him, maybe. Actually, we will get a nice little shot into him, and yeah, it is just a bunch of tanks sitting in front of us. Vehicles which I can very, very easily farm. So we're going to shoot the Emil 1 first as well. Okay, we're going to ricochet off of the rear of a 252U while trying to shoot the Emil 1. That tank in a nutshell. Okay, we're going to shoot the 252U now, and I think we're free to push in here. The Yak Panther is pretty isolated. I don't know where the... Okay, yeah, the Tortoise is really aggressive. Here is the Emil 1. We'll put a shot into him and then kind of pull back. We're just going to angle up to his tank to give him a harder shot if he has shots on our upper hull. Do get a nice bounce there. We should be able to pen him straight through the lower plate here. Getting another shot into him, and we've already dealt over 3,000 damage. You can see the armor profile when it is against tier 8 vehicles is so nice. They really do not stand much of a chance against a T-54. Now this T-49 is pushing back towards us, so I'm going to show him with HE in the side, and hopefully can get right past him. He wrecks our Batchat, but he gets taken out as well. Should be able to put another shot into the 252U, picking up the last kill there. That was a very fast game, but you could see just how aggressive you can be in your T-54 when you're top tier. You have some team support, and you can just rip those tanks apart. I mean, we did 4,000 damage very, very easily, and that is what the T-54 is about. So when you're top tier, you can definitely afford to be super aggressive in this tank and really push on the enemy team and utilize the DPM, the armor that is super good against tier 8s, and the mobility, and just push on the enemy team. It deals damage so fast that way. But when you're in those tier 10 games, you need to be a little bit more cautious when you come to playing this vehicle, because as good as this vehicle is, it really struggles against tier 10s, having that very poor penetration. You know, the armor's okay, the mobility's okay, but 5 degrees of gun depression is really bad, and it can definitely struggle. So you got to take it easy. You know, I definitely took it much more easy in the tier 10 games. I wasn't eager to just push in and start dishing the DPM. Instead, I took a little bit more of a distance engagement. I took things carefully, assessed the situation a little bit more, and then when I was ready to, I pushed with my team to utilize this brawling ability. So that is what the T-54 is all about. It is just an extremely good brawling vehicle, and when you get into those brawling situations, you will thrive in the vehicle. You just have to make sure you're taking the right situation. So that's what you want to get good at identifying in a 54. Well, am I good to push here? Am I not good to push here? And once you master that, T54 is pretty simple from that perspective. All right, so I hope you guys were able to enjoy my video on how to play the T54. It gives you an idea of how the tank performs on average, especially in those tier 10 games. Please feel free to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. You guys are awesome, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Saif on the